Hello, everybody. All right, so welcome to the Mikestand. Today is Wednesday, October 30th. Of course, that means it's hump day, getting that time to get over the hump. I hope everybody's having a good week thus far. Of course, as always, if you guys haven't as of yet, if you guys can help out by liking and sharing the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people in here to engage. That'd be appreciated. Also, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions, and I'll try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. And of course, if you haven't already, if you can subscribe as well, that way you can get notified when I'm on. Um, Let me just do a couple quick things. Is where, of course, before I do get started, of course, we're just waiting to give people a chance to come in. Um, I'm gonna send out a few invites here. Just reminders for people to let them know I'm on. They want to come and hang out. This is more ahead of. All right, as I said, we wait for more people. Let's see. Oh, we're already past the 3.5 minute mark, so because it would be a good time to talk about what's on tap for tonight. So we're gonna go over a couple of articles from that Park Place, a couple of comics related articles. One of the stories, actually, Yellow Flash had talked about. Um, Let me just check a couple links here. Of course, first off, we're going to talk a little bit about um, YouTuber D-Day Cobra, real name Jeremy Gregg of Geeks and Gamers. Apparently, he's been maligned by being made into a Blue Beetle villain by DC Comics. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. And then we're also going to, and then another YouTuber, Drunk 3PO, is launching, I guess, their latest book, Achromatic Chronicles, their latest graphic novel. So green. So we will talk a little about that. We also will have, of course, we'll have the wrestling wrap up and the this day in each history segment. So with all that being said, why don't we go ahead and get started with the material then? Now coming up on 5 minutes. So long ago, so long apart. Gonna wait another day for All right, so here we go. Here we go with the first article we're going to go over, which is this one right here. DC Comics appears to malign YouTuber Jeremy Griggs, aka DK D-Day Cobra of Geeks and Gamers, by turning him into a Blue Beetle villain. Article by John F. Trent, published back on October 21st, 2014. So let's go ahead and take a. I know Yellow Flash kind of looked at this past weekend, I guess. So DC Comics appears to have maligned YouTuber Jeremy Griggs, aka D-Day Cobra, of the Geeks and Gamers YouTube channel, in a recently released Blue Beetle graphic novel. Titled, I believe, This Land is Our Land. A Blue Beetle story. As initially reported by fandompulse.com writer Julio as reported by a Phantom Pulse writer, Julio Anto, and artist Jacoby Salcido, appeared to have included the likeness of Griggs in their recently released Blue Beetle graphic novel, This Land is Our Land, a Blue Beetle story. The comic paints the character that looks like Griggs as part of a YouTube funnel that leads one of Jaime Reyes' friends to join an organization called Legion of Patriots that is, quote unquote, actually a neo-Nazi group. Of course, once again, as we all know, of course, the left seems to think that if you stand up for traditional American values, that you're a Nazi, which is far from the truth. Let's get back to the article here. See what else they have to say here. Let's see. Oh, yeah. It has Griggs' character saying, quote, unlike the mainstream media, we don't wear makeup, we don't spread lies, we don't have a bias, we believe in the truth. The left tries to tell us that multiculturalism is the answer to all of society's problems, yet they criticize us for being men, for being white, for being straight. All of this, of course, is true. The next page features a number of other YouTube personalities discussing immigration with one of Jaime Reyes' friends, discussing his other friend's journey to the Legion of Patriots. This friend states, quote, the more videos he watched, the more the algorithms fed him similar content, each one more racist and xenophobic than the last. Here's the thing. Here's the thing about this, though. You know, it's funny how the left is banging the drum on this when they're the ones who are. You know, it's kind of funny. Many of these woke leftists follow the rules for radicals model of look in the mirror, see all the evil you do, and then point to the other guy and say he does it. Griggs has not issued a statement, but he did repost a number of others who commented on it. First, he reposted somebody who wrote, quote, looks like DC made D-Day Cobra into a villain. They make him sound pretty BA, to be honest. I hope he crushes the Blue Beetle. He also reposted YouTuber Hypnotic, who wrote, quote, "Bro, they turned D-Day Cobra into a BA villain in the new Blue Beetle comic, LMAO." You know, and I'm sure many of you in the past day or two have heard about President Biden's little faux pas of calling Trump supporters garbage. That looks like it's gonna backfire. This looks like it's gonna backfire as these woke leftists are trying to make anybody who believes in the MAGA ideology as as hateful or as un-American, when it's further from the truth. You know, you have these people who okay, so these DC guys, they decided to make geeks and gamers, villains, right? They try to do that with Trump too. In fact, we just reported on a story yesterday on Bleeding Fool about how there was a group of mainstream comic artists and writers who actually were going out of their way to write an anthology in hopes of stopping, Trump's reelection. So, but all it's doing is, first off, it's just going to more than likely motivate people to get out and vote as soon as possible. So I mean, let's see. He also reposted legal analyst and YouTuber Andrew Esquire. He questioned, quote, we filing an unauthorized use of persona suit. If I understand correctly, I believe that's legal terms for basically using somebody's likeness without their permission, which is a legal no-no. This tactic that both Julio Anto and Jacoby Salcido use is well-worn one. Novelist Brian Niemeyer notes, "It is what Hollywood has used to push the current culture of death that permeates much of the United States." I wonder what he means by culture of death. Is he talking about the death of freedom or what? Hey, Rick. Thanks for popping in, my friend. Yellow Flash was covering that. I saw a video from Yellow Flash on this, so figured it would be a good time to cover this. So if you haven't already, of course, if you can help out by liking and sharing the screen, see if we can get some more friendly people in here to engage, I'd be appreciated. Also, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions. I'll try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. Also, if you haven't as of yet, if you want to subscribe so you can be notified a lot quicker of my material, feel free to do so. Let's see. So he explains, quote, "To understand this method, one needs only understand the archetypal trope of the protagonist. This is the character who drives the story by setting out on a quest to achieve a concrete goal against opposition. Generally, the hero of the story is what they're talking about. Hollywood learned through long trial and error to make the protagonist as likable and relatable to audiences as possible. The idea is to make audiences identify with the hero. Unquote. Quote, Hollywood churned out decades of movies wherein heroes whom audiences identified with achieved their goals by acting according to the death cult's morals. He added, quote, the point bears repeating. To bring movie audiences around to your way of thinking, show characters they like being successful by acting in line with your moral standards. Yeah, basically, elevate the good guy and deviate the bad guy, or bring down the bad guy, upgrade the good guy, downgrade the bad guy. But that's more than just movies. That's in any form of fiction or walk of life, as it were. So, regardless of how BA they make Grigg's fictional commentary in the graphic novel, the point bears repeating. To borrow a phrase from Niemeyer, he is still okay. Bit of an error, I guess a grammatical error here in terms of just how they. So he is still being painted as a villain. His views are being painted as villainous, no matter the true substance of them. And that's the real point. They want to associate these viewpoints with villains and evil, which they've been doing for like the last 10 years or last 8 years or so. Basically, anything MAGA related, that's exactly what they've been doing. We've seen it. We saw it when Hillary called Trump supporters deplorable. We're seeing it again as Biden's calling them garbage. I know that even Jeremy, the quartering, right? I don't know I don't remember his last name. It's not Griggs, but Jeremy of the quartering, was pointing out earlier, even before Hillary called deplorables, Obama would call people in MAGA those who cling to their gods and their guns, right? Basically the elitists who just think they know everything. They want to condition people to believe these views are evil regardless of their actual merit. Yep. That's exactly what we've been seeing. In contrast, they show Blue Beetle, the protagonist, lecturing the individuals who listen to these views while he collaborates with a woman who has an anarchy and anti-Columbus society on her laptop. Now, anarchy, well, of course, in this case, they're using the real spellings. I don't think they're talking about the hero, the DC Comics character Anarchy, who was known for bringing about chaos, as it were. Anti-Columbus society, I would imagine that that's a group of people who basically, again, putting down white straight males as the great evil of society. What do you make of DC Comics appearing to malign YouTuber Jeremy Griggs in this Blue Beetle graphic novel? At this point, it's not. I don't think it's going to have quite. It is kind of poopy. Okay, yeah. It's kind of along the same line. It's in the same vein of like calling Trump, President Trump, or anybody who supports Trump, calling him, the National Socialist, or the, as some people like to call him, the funny mustache guy. It's basically the same thing. It's like, when reason leaves you, you just basically vilify and malign your enemy. There a term that was used for it, like, maybe like 150 years, late 1800s, early 1900s. So about 125, 130 years ago, maybe as much as 150 years ago. The term they would use for it would be, well, maybe not that long. So maybe it's just about 100 to 125 years ago. Was, muckraking, mudslinging, yellow journalism. We're seeing it now in our time again, right? You know, Now, granted, I don't know if they do have legal grounds to file suit against these DC writers for doing this, but it would be very interesting to see. The only problem is, depending upon where DC, it may not be able to go anywhere, because if, let's say, it's like LA or New York, then the jury pool will probably be more in agreement and say no, yeah, because of the fact they're maligning an evil Trump supporter, therefore they have every right to do that, But but anyways, that's enough of that article. So let's move on to the next article. Let's see, it's 22 minutes. Okay. Let's move on to the next article here. One that actually seems a little bit more positive, I would say. Or at least not really talking about as much need. So YouTuber Drunk 3PO launches Achromatic Chronicles Green, quote unquote, pre-order campaign for all new graphic novel. So this article was published on October 26th, which was, I believe, this past Friday, and was written by Marvin Montanaro. So let's take a look at this. Of course, Drunk 3PO is another guy who is known for being, along with Jeremy Griggs. They're both, being, have been featured on Yellow Flash's Yellow Flash's broadcast and all that channel. So during the Flashcast. So Jay David, better known to many as YouTuber Drunk 3PO, has launched a pre-order campaign via Ripasend. I'm guessing Ripasend is linked to Jeremy Young Ripa, Eric July, for his new graphic novel, Achromatic Chronicles Green. This marks the first major campaign from Ripasend, a platform that specializes in publishing, distribution, and fulfillment for creators of all sizes. So maybe this is with the name Ripa attached to it, I'm guessing this may be linked to Eric July, but I could be wrong. The 75-day campaign is off to a strong start, having, in parentheses here, as of this writing, made $31,299 of its $50,000 goal. Jay is the author of this work, so DJ Cobra, as known as Jay David, so that's his real name, Jay David. With illustrations done by Eric Hodson. On the official Ripasend campaign page, the Achromatic Chronicles series is described as stories that, quote, promise to inspire, captivate, and entertain readers of all ages, unquote. The official synopsis of the story for Achromatic Chronicles reads, quote, The Achromatic Chronicles is a captivating series following young John from the Grey World, a place bereft of color and steeped in monotony. John's curious nature and yearning to be different set him apart in a society where conformity reigns supreme. Sound familiar? uh, One fateful day, John meets Blue, a new friend who unveils a world brimming with colors, adventure, and limitless possibilities. So this book almost sounds like the exact counter to what we just read, right? uh, about the Blue Beetle comic or Blue Beetle graphic novel. This one almost. So I guess it was a good thing I picked these two stories. They seem to almost be mirror images of each other. So, anyways, continuing on here. Let's see. Thus begins John's extraordinary journey and odyssey teeming with pirates and queens as he strives to find his unique voice amidst a newly vibrant world. Quote, in Achromatic Chronicles Blue, we witness John's transformation as he steps out of his grayscale existence and into the colorful adventures that await him. With Achromatic Chronicles Green, the story expands to include John's friend Fortuna and her quest to bring hope and individuality back to the gray world with the help of her new friend Green. Each book brings fresh stories, vibrant characters, and invaluable lessons about self-discovery, courage, and the importance of embracing one's uniqueness. Unquote. So that's actually, it sounds like a pretty good story there, and sounds like a pretty good story. Something worth reading, obviously. Let's see. When speaking with Jay earlier today, the YouTube sensation said that his readers can expect, quote, an all-age adventure series that helps young people realize they don't have to be perfect to have value and purpose, unquote. This campaign features exclusive pre-order packages that include Achromatic Chronicles Blue, Achromatic Chronicles Green, collected editions for both books, CGC graded edition. CGC is the grading company, basically. Exclusive T-shirts, stress ball companions. I don't know. Stress balls are basically those things you move. You basically move around in your hand or whatever. Let's see. Check a couple of things here. See if anybody. Nope. We still have two people. Hmm. Hmm. going for now. All right, so back to the article here then. Achromatic Chronicles is the latest in a series of independent creative projects to hit the comic book world. This ongoing trend seems poised to break the traditional comic book publishing industry, has for so long been dominated solely by Marvel and DC. It's led to a swell of popular creative works rising up to the delight of quality starved readers the world over, many of whom are tired of having a lot of the wokeness that's being pushed right now by companies like Marvel, DC, as well as Image and IDW and all that. Let's see. Companies like Rippaverse and Big Man Comics have seen great success in launching books that break the traditional mold, creating a hot new market practically overnight. Quote, "This was something that took years to make," unquote, Jay said when speaking to That Park Place about the campaign. Quote, "I'm very excited that people are enjoying it. It's an absolute joy to see people enjoying something that you created. Uh, by supporting smaller independent creators in these campaigns, readers are able to take more control over the comic book and graphic novel industry, which is true, wrestling control away from Disney-owned Marvel and WB-owned DC Comics." Basically, the idea is if you're somebody who supports, good storytelling, supports, um, supports basically not agenda driven stuff. If you enjoy, freedom, independence, these are the books for you. You know, you can either stick with the mainstream companies that tell you that you're garbage, or that you're deplorable, or that you're a national socialist, or you can go buy books that will tell you that it's all right to be different. It's all right to speak the truth. You know. So with that, let's see. That's 33 minutes here. So um, with that being said, I think we will get ready to move on to the wrestling wrap up. As of course, we have some, obviously have some news. WWE, AEW, and TNA. So first out, let me get the TNA news out of the way first, only because this actually happened Sunday during the tapings for this week's show, for the next few weeks' show here. So Chris Bay, one half of the team known as ABC in TNA, suffered a neck injury during a match during a singles match. He suffered it so badly that he ended up having to be taken to the hospital, and he had to undergo neck surgery. So it looks like he's going to be out for a while. It's fortunate things happen sometimes. I don't know, because I haven't actually seen the match or anything like that, so I don't know what exactly happened, and how he did in fact hurt his neck, but he apparently did. So so that's all we gotta talk about in terms of the TNA news. But with that being said, of course, let's now talk about what happened on last night's NXT. It's, of course, coming off of their Halloween Havoc pay-per-view on Sunday. Anyways, let's talk a little bit. Let's go over what happened on last night's NXT, which, of course, NXT last night um, came to everybody from the Performance Center in Orlando, Florida. They will be having a show at the 2300 Arena next Wednesday, the 6th, in which they've already been confirmed a few names of the old ECW confirmed to be there as well. We'll talk a little bit about that as well. But in the opening match of last night's NXT, Tatum Paxley in a casket match, Tatum Paxley defeated Wendy Chu. Not really a good week for some of the NXT talent that competed on this past weekend's NXT Bound for Glory pay-per-view, and we'll talk a little bit. Wendy Chu, after taking the fall in the match for the TNA Knockouts World Tag Team, as she and Rosemary were attempting to dethrone Spitfire of Danny Luna and Jody Threat. After the match, she had been betrayed, and then and now she comes on to NXT here and is now loses a casket match at Tatum Paxley. In a match for the NXT Heritage Cup, Charlie Dempsey successfully defended the title versus Lexis King. Charlie Dempsey, accompanied to the ring by his won it 2-0 in round 3. Let's see. Charlie Dempsey's No Catch Crew teammates of Miles Bourne, Tavion Heights, and Ren Sinclair, his corner. Charlie Dempsey defeated Lexis King, who had William Regal, who happens to be Charlie Dempsey's father, in his corner. I guess making her NXT debut, Zarya defeated Brinley Reese. Again, the other NXT talent who's not having a good week thus far. She was involved in a match on the Countdown show, in which she took the fall from the By Elegance duo of Ash and Heather By Elegance. And then Kalani Jordan coming off of her loss of the women's NXT women's NXT North American title, defeated Nikita Lyons, coming back from, as I said, coming back from the loss from last night's or from Sunday night's Halloween Havoc. And in the main event, Axiom and Nathan Frazier successfully defend the NXT Tag Team titles against Cedric Alexander and Javon Evans. So, and as I was saying earlier, NXT next week will be having a show at the 2300 Arena in Philadelphia, the old home of ECW. And there have been a few names that have been thrown out there as either confirmed to be going or are speculated to go. Already confirmed to be there for the event will be, of course, former ECW and WWE diva Dawn Marie. She'll be there in some capacity. I think right now she's the only one, but a few other names that have been dropped as possibly being there include, of course, Bully Ray, Bubba Ray, formerly known as Bubba Ray Dudley. There's some talk Francine might be making an appearance there, RVD possibly, and of course, former ECW star and WWE diva Lita, who wrestled in ECW as Miss Congeniality, maybe also making a return. So there's some stuff to look forward to from that show next Wednesday. So that's all we got for WWE side of things. So now let's talk a little bit about what's going down. About what's, of course, going down on tonight's Dynamite. Fright Night Dynamite, there's Halloween special. The night is set to open with a singles match between Adam Cole and Buddy Matthews. Buddy Matthews having challenged Cole after his appearance on last week's Dynamite, in which he said he wanted to prove how fragile Adam Cole is. In a match that's been a month in the making, Camille will be taking on Chris Statlander, former TNT Camille, former NWA World Champion Camille will be taking on former TBS Champion Chris Statlander in a battle of two of the powerhouses of the women's division, two of the strongest women in the division. Of course, Mercedes, the current TBS champion Mercedes Moné, will be in Camille's corner. Shelton Benjamin, and I believe only his second match in AEW with MVP in his corner, will be taking on Swerve Strickland, who have Prince down in his corner. Swerve Strickland will be, in the ring for the first time since his battle with Hangman Adam Pearce at the last pay-per-view. In the main event, we'll see in a match for the AEW World Tag Team, the Young Bucks of Matthew and Nicholas Jackson will be defending against Private Party, Quentin and Zay, who, and as a stipulation of this match, if Private Party does not defeat the Young Bucks for the tag team titles, they will be forced to split. This is kind of a similar situation that happened with SoCal Uncensored back in 2021. Private Party will be forced to split if they cannot defeat the Young Bucks for the AEW World Tag Team titles. So, and of course, TNA also had a recent, back at Victory Road, had a similar situation with Spitfire and Militia. So, anyways, with all that being said, that's all we have in terms of the wrestling wrap up. Of course, tonight the commentary will be provided by Excalibur, Matt Menard, and Tony Schiavone. Anyways, so now with all that being said, with today being Wednesday, October 30th, 2024, let's take a look back at this day in each history. So, all right, so first off, we're going to head back 50 years ago today. On this date, 50 years ago today, back in 1974, after having just lost the title, Jerry Lawler regains the NWA Mid-America Southern title from Robert Fuller in Nashville. So on this date, 50 years ago today, Jerry Lawler defeats Robert Fuller. He regains the NWA Mid-America Southern title from Robert Fuller 1 week after dropping the title to him. So, So there we go with that. Now moving on to the next piece of niche history as we move ahead to 2004, which was, of course, on this date in 2004, which was just 20 years ago today. Group TAC's Alice Academy premiered on Japanese television on this date back in it translates Alice Academy or Alice School. It's called in Japan. It's called Gakuen Alice. But again, on this day, the supernatural comedy Alice Academy from Group TAC premiered on this date in back in 2004, 20 years ago. So this is kind of the plot synopsis of Alice Academy. Mikan Sakura grew up with her grandfather in the Japanese countryside. When her best friend Hotaru Imai transfers to a prestigious school in Tokyo, Mikan follows her. The school is actually an elite academy for gifted people with Alice's, an ability that is unique depending on the individual being. Once Mikan arrives at the gates of the school, she encounters an Alice teacher named Narumi, gets enrolled due to a series of events, and is told that she possesses a rare Alice. Despite her initial view of the so-called greatness to the school, Mikan slowly discovers that beneath the grand facade of the academy there is a never-ending stream of lies and buried secrets. A lot of good plot, a lot of good dramatic plot developments, huh? Um, so I think that's all we really need to know. 20 years ago today, Group TAC's Alice Academy premiered on Japanese television. Anyways. So now, finally, on this date 5 years ago today, as soon as I pull that up, 5 years, on this date 5 years ago today, on newsstands, the 275th issue of B&V Friends Jumbo Comics Double Digest from Archie went on sale on this date in, of course, B&V standing for Betty and Veronica of Archie Comics. Went on sale on this date 5 years ago today. Sold for $7.99. It was 192 pages. So on this date, 5 years ago, 2019, 275th issue of B&V Friends Jumbo Comics Double Digest went on sale on this date back in 2019. So with that, I do thank everybody for being here tonight. I hope everybody enjoyed the show. Of course, we'll be back here tomorrow with more niche news. Of course, tomorrow night we're going to be looking at the latest edition of the Indie Comic Showcase from Bleeding Forward from Chris Braley. So we'll be looking at that. And then, of course, don't forget Sunday we will be doing we'll be doing our next historical comic retrospect. I'll be joined by RJ Carter from Critical Blast. We'll be starting our coverage of books that went on sale in April of 1940. Be focusing in on books that went on sale from DC. Among the books we'll be, of course, looking at will be Batman #1, which of course featured the first appearances of the Joker and Catwoman. So I hope to see everybody back here tomorrow and every night. And until then, Bye.